Good day. Welcome sa discussion natin in Biochem. And today we will discuss about the carbohydrates. Actually, carbohydrates is the first biomolecule or macromolecule that we will talk about. No? So first is carbohydrates, next is lipids, next is proteins, and last is the nucleic acids. So let's start. So our objective in this discussion is first is to for you to able to recognize carbohydrates and classify them as a mono, di, or polysaccharides because we have different types of carbohydrates. And then to understand the importance of carbohydrates in living system and to provide examples of some important dietary carbohydrates. So let's start. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word carbohydrates? Ano ba ang pumapasok sa isip nyo kapag naririnig nyo yung salitang carbohydrates? Hindi ba carbs, di ba? So the first thing comes to our mind ay yung mga rice, corn, or any food that can make you fat or obese, di ba? Kasi yung mga nagda-diet, di ba, parang medyo umiiwas sila sa mga carbs kasi sinasabi nila na nakakataba daw, ganon. But in reality, sa biochemistry, carbohydrates play an important role in human body. So, ano ba ang ginagawa ng mga carbohydrates? So, they act as an energy source. So, remember that carbohydrates are the energy source, and then it also help control yung blood glucose and yung insulin, and then yung metabolism, and then of course it participate in cholesterol and triglyceride metabolism, and syempre nag-help din si carbohydrate sa fermentation. So marami naman siyang purpose. So yun lang yung sum of the common purpose na meron tayo sa carbohydrates. Now, let's talk about the prelude to carbohydrates. No, when we say carbs, 'di ba, lagi namang may nakaakibat na danger, no? Sa lahat naman ng sobra kasi talaga ay masama, 'di ba? And then kapag naririnig din natin yung carbs, ano ba yung unang-unang pumapasok sa isip natin? 'Di ba yung diabetes, no? Specifically, the type 2 diabetes. So, ano ba ang pinagkaiba ni type 1 at ni type 2 diabetes? Si type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. Kung saan yung immune system natin, it destroys the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. Ganun yung nangyayari. That leads to a complete lack of insulin. Meron tayong lack of insulin kapag meron tayong type 1. And then kapag naman meron tayong type 2 diabetes, ang nangyayari, nagkakaroon tayo ng insulin resistance. Kung saan yung body natin or yung cells natin, yung body cells natin, hindi na siya nagre-respond properly sa insulin. And yung pancreas, it gradually produce less insulin over time. Ibig sabihin, humihina yung insulin production natin kapag meron tayong type 2 na diabetes. And then, remember that ang type 2 diabetes, syempre, genetic din naman siya, pero ang type 2 diabetes ay pwede natin siyang ma-acquire. No, yung pwede tayong magkaroon ng ganong sakit lalo na kung wala tayong control sa sugar intake natin, 'di ba? At kadalasan yung mga may type 2 diabetes, sila yung na-amputate, yung mga ganon, or yung kapag tumatanda, nagkakaroon ng madaming komplikasyon sa heart, komplikasyon sa mata, yun. Tapos kapag nagkasugat, matagal gumaling, no, yun yung may mga type 2 diabetes. And of course, yung type 1 diabetes is different. So next is, ito. Ang dami ko na nabanggit, pero ito pala yung difference between the type 1 diabetes and then the type 2 diabetes. Ang type 1 diabetes, again, it is an autoimmune disease, and then it develops rapidly and can be diagnosed at any age. So, ibig sabihin, kahit anong edad ka, pwede ka magkaroon ng ganyan. No? Pero kadalasan kasi, ang mga nadadiagnose nito ay yung mga bata pa or yung mga teenager. No? And then, syempre kapag may type 1 diabetes ka, kailangan mo ng insulin. 'Di ba? Kasi yung immune system mo kasi, kaya nga siya autoimmune disease, your immune system destroys the insulin-producing cells sa may pancreas. Kaya kung may mga nakikita kayo ng mga tao na nag-i-inject ng insulin, 'di ba? May mga ganon, may mga tao nag-i-inject ng insulin because they need insulin, 'di ba? And then of course, type 1 diabetes can be deadly kapag hindi siya naagapan agad. No? So delikado ang type 1 diabetes. And then ang type 2 diabetes naman, it is an autoimmune disease. Sorry, not an autoimmune disease. Hindi siya autoimmune disease kasi it develops slowly. Lalo na kapag wala kang control sa pagkain. And then can be diagnosed at any age din naman. But often, sa mga adults siya. Kasi nga, kapag wala kang control, since bata ka pa lang sa sugar intake mo, nangyayari, may chance na mataas yung chance na magkaroon ka ng diabetes. And then, of course, type 2 diabetes can utilize other medications instead of addition of insulin, no? Yung iba nadadali naman ng ng mga food supplements or ng mga gamot, no? So 'yon. Yan. So medyo na lang yung PowerPoint natin, pero ang nakalagay dito is what is carbohydrates, no? So we have two definitions of carbohydrates here, no? One, the definition in chem, and then the other one is definition in healthcare and biology. So let's define first using the healthcare and biology. So according to biology and healthcare, ang definition ng carbohydrates, it is the food consisting on or containing lots of sugar, starch, cellulose, or similar substances that can be broken down, na minemetabolize natin sa katawan into to release energy in the human body and make up one of the main nutritional food group. 'Di ba? Ang carbohydrates ay isa sa mga main nutritional food group kasi it is the main source of energy. 'Di ba? Na kailangan natin sa katawan natin to function. And then in chemistry definition naman, carbohydrates is a biomolecule consisting of carbon, meron daw siyang carbon, hydrogen, oxygen na atoms. And usually, the hydrogen-oxygen atom, ang ratio niya daw is 2:1. Ibig sabihin, sa isang oxygen, meron tayong dalawang hydrogen, as in water. Ganon. So this is an example. These are the examples of common carbohydrates, such as yung fructose and then yung glucose. Yan. So, let's talk about the carbohydrates, no? Ang sabi, all carbohydrates daw consist of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Nabanggit naman na natin, no? And are polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. So, as you can remember, dun sa organic chem discussion is, nabanggit naman na natin yung ketone and aldehydes, di ba? Kapag ketone siya, ibig sabihin, hindi terminal yung oxygen. Kunyari, kung ito yung chain mo, nandyan yon. Pero kung aldehyde naman, ganito siya. Tapos may hydrogen siya. Diba? Tapos ito yung the rest of your chain. Ganon. So, yon. So, examples of carbohydrates include yung mga starch, fibers, sweet tasting compounds na tinatawag natin na sugar, structural materials such as cellulose, no? Remember, take note that cellulose is the most abundant organic polymer and key structure siya or key structure component siya ng mga plant cell walls, no? Kaya yung mga plant cell walls natin sila ay rigid, no? It is because of cellulose. Remember that. And then the term carbohydrate had its origin in a misinterpretation of the molecular formulas of many of these substances. For example, C6H12O6 or glucose was one thought to be carbohydrate. Kaya nga siya carbohydrates. Carbon with hydrates. So, ganon. Next is, which compound should be classified as a carbohydrate? No. So remember, kapag meron tayong presence of aldehyde and ketone, yun ay carbohydrate. So determine natin tong si 1, si 2, si 3, at si 4. So si 1, carbohydrate siya. Why? Because we have the presence of this aldehyde. No, may presence tayo ng aldehyde. And then, meron tayong OH group sa bawat carbon molecules. So ito, another carbon molecules, meron tayo ulit OH. That's why this is a carbohydrate. Si number 2 ba? Hindi siya carbohydrates. Why? Because wala tayong aldehyde. Wala yung aldehyde, and then wala din yung ketone. Why? Because this is an alcohol. Alcohol lang to. At ito ay alcohol lang din, at ito ay alcohol. So these three are alcohols. Hindi present si ketone or si aldehyde. So hindi siya sugar, ay hindi siya carbohydrate. So ito ay carbs. Ito ay not carbs. And then si pangatlo, the third one is carbohydrate siya. Why? Because the presence of the ketone. Ito kanina may aldehyde tayo dito kay 1. Dito naman meron tayong ketone. And then ano pa yung isa pang factor na masasabi natin na siya ay carbohydrates? Because of the presence of this OH group. Basta pag may nakita kayong OH na nakakabit sa mga carbon na yan, automatically that is a carbohydrate or carbohydrates. And then the fourth one is, so eto, meron tayong ketone. Meron tayong ketone dito. Does that mean that this is a carbohydrate? No. Why? Because etong part na to, yan, nasan yung OH natin? Nawawala, di ba? So dapat meron tayong OH dyan. So hindi siya carbohydrates. Pero dito sa may baba niya, meron. But still, this is not a carbohydrate. Yan. Now let's talk about the monosaccharides. Nabanggit natin kanina yung mono, di, and polysaccharides. No, so let's talk about monomers. No, so each macromolecules have different monomers. At ang monomer natin for carbohydrate ay tinatawag natin na monosaccharide. No, monosaccharide ang tawag natin sa mga monomer ng carbohydrates. So this is an example of a monomer of a carbohydrates. Pareho lang silang carbohydrates. Ang pinagkaiba lang nito, iba yung kanyang projection. Nakacyclic lang to. Later on, i-discuss natin yan. And then ito naman ay naka-Fischer projection. Itong isa. Yan. Yan. So, ang monosaccharides daw, it is the naturally occurring monosaccharide contain 3 to 7 carbon atoms per molecule. Remember, ang mga naturally occurring na monosaccharides ay 3 to 7 carbon atoms per molecule. So, bibilangin natin kung ilan yung carbon. For example, ito 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yan. And then the monosaccharides of specific sizes may be indicated by the names composed of stem, denoting the number of carbon atoms and the suffix "-os". Gumagamit daw tayo ng suffix na "-os" sa pag-name sa kanila. For example, this is a glucose and then a fructose. No? And then monosaccharides are also classified as aldoses or ketoses. Why? Because ketone sila at aldehyde sila. Kaya sila aldose at ketose. So those monosaccharides that contain an aldehyde functional group are called aldoses. Ayan. And those ketone functional group on the second carbon atom are ketoses. So this is a ketose, no? And then this is an aldose. Now, ito yung common name niya, yung glucose at yung fructose. Ngayon, ano yung name niya based on group and then based on number of carbon. Di ba binilangan na natin kanina to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ibig sabihin, siya ay 6. Kapag 6, yan ay hex. Di ba? And then, kailangan natin ma-determine kung siya ba ay ketone or aldehyde. Yung double bond O natin ay matatagpuan natin sa terminal or sa dulo. Ibig sabihin, yan ay aldehyde. Kaya siya aldo. And then, yung OSE na suffix, kaya siya aldohexose. And then this one naman, kung mapapansin nyo, nasa second carbon, yung double bond O natin, ibig sabihin yan ay ketone. Ibig sabihin siya ay keto. And then, ilan yung carbon na meron tayo? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kaya siya ketohexose. So, ganon. Yan. So, example tayo. Draw an example of each type of compound. Sabi dito, this is a ketopentose. Ibig sabihin, kapag pent, meron tayong 5. And then, kapag keto, ibig sabihin, siya dapat ay ketone. So, draw natin. Ito si letter A. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Since kailangan natin ng 5, di ba? And then, hydrogen dyan, hydrogen dito, at OH yan. Kasi dapat each carbon ay may nakakabit na OH. And then, since yan ay ketone, lalagay tayo ng double bond O dyan. And then, another hydrogen dyan, and then OH, another hydrogen, ay pwedeng OH na agad to. So, kahit saan yung position. Remember, kapag ganyan, kahit saan nyo na lang ilagay yung part ng OH, kahit sa left or right. Kapag ganito ha, yung given. No? Pero kasi, later on, malalaman natin kung ano yung mga pinagkaiba-iba nila. And then, OH, and then H, nalipat. And then H to, and then H to. So, yan. And then for letter B, nakalagay aldo tetrose. Since yan ay aldo, ibig sabihin yan ay aldehyde. So, ibig sabihin, yung double bond O natin ay matatagpuan natin sa umpisa. And then, of course, may H doon. And then, 2, 3, 4. Kasi aldo tetrose, tetra, 4. So, OH to, OH yan, OH yan, and then mga hydrogen dyan. Yan. So, that's it. So, ganyan lang. So, let's talk about the Fisher projection. No. So, ang Fisher projection are a way to represent three-dimensional molecules in two dimensions. Malamang sa malamang kasi, 3D yung dimension ng natin, ng glucose natin in reality, di ba? Pero we use the Fisher projection. Ito, yung sinusulat natin drawing kanina, this is an example of a Fisher projection. Kaya siya tinatawag na Fisher projection kasi mukha siyang fish. Ayan, no? Kaya siya Fisher projection. Pero, ibang na tao kasi si Fisher. No? So, by following the specific rules for drawing these projections, one can depict complex carbohydrates such as yung glucose and fructose in a way that conveys their structural information. So this is an example of a Fisher projection. And then as we can observe, meron tayong two types, the D and then the L. No? The D and L. So, ito yung D-glucose natin at ito naman yung ating L-glucose. At kung mapapansin nyo, ano yung pinagkaiba nila? So, malalaman natin yung pinagkaiba nila by looking at their OH. Yung OH na nakakabit. No? For example, ito yung OH, ito, and ito. Yan. So, yung mga nasa gitna lang yung i-count natin kahit yung nasa dulo hindi na. Then, ito, at ito. Kung mapapansin nyo, mirror images sila ng isa't isa. 'Di ba? Para silang kapag pinagdikit mo yung dalawang palad mo or yung dalawang kamay mo, para silang ganon. No, mirror images sila ng isa't isa, pero hindi sila parehas. 'Di ba? Ganon din naman yung kamay mo. Iba ang kaliwang kamay mo sa kanang kamay mo. Iba yung nagagawa ng kaliwang kamay mo sa nagagawa ng kanang kamay mo. Pero mirror images sila ng isa't isa. Magkamukha sila, but technically hindi sila magkaparehas. Katulad nito. Kaya nga meron tayong D-glucose at L-glucose. Yon, mirror images sila ng isa't isa at magkaiba din sila ng properties. No? So, stereoisomers are isomers that have the same molecular formula, ayan, kapag na may same molecular formula and ligands but differ in arrangement of those ligands in 3D space are called stereoisomer. So molecules that are non-superimposable or non-identical, yun yung ibig sabihin ng non-superimposable ha, non-identical sila. Mirror images of each other is a type of stereoisomer called enantiomer. Enantiomer sila ng isa't isa. Ito yung dinidiscuss ko kanina dun sa kabilang slide. No? Na si D-fructose, ay yung kanina glucose lang naman, pero ito din yun. Na si D-glucose at si si D-fructose at si L-fructose, sila ay mirror images ng isa't isa. Ang tawag sa kanila ay enantiomer. Remember that, na kapag mirror images ng isa't isa, ang tawag ay enantiomer. Sir, paano sila naging mirror images ng isa't isa? By looking at their OH dito. No, ayan. Kung mapapansin nyo, mukha silang magkatapat sa salamin. Kung pagtatapatin nyo yung dalawang kamay nyo, ganun din yan. No. And then, of course, magkaiba sila. Hindi sila parehas. So, let's talk about the important hexoses, the monosaccharides. Ito yung most common monosaccharide natin. Hindi na natin lalaliman kasi ito lang din naman yung mga common monosaccharides na meron tayo. So, first is the glucose, the fructose, and then the galactose. Kung mapapansin nyo, iba yung itsura ni fructose because this is a ketone. Diba? Kasi si fructose ay ketose. And then, etong si glucose at si galactose, sila ay mga aldose. So, let's talk first about the glucose. So, D-glucose, ayan, generally referred to as simply glucose or glucose. Kasi, yung D-glucose yung kinoconsume natin is the most abundant sugar found in nature, and most of the carbohydrates we eat are eventually converted to it in a series of biochemical reactions that produces energy for our cells. So, ang glucose daw, it also called as dextrose, corn sugar, or blood sugar. No, yun din yung tawag sa kanya. And remember that normal blood sugar, so kailangan nyo to sa mga nursing. So, normal blood sugar values range from 70 to 100 mg glucose per DL plasma lang. And normal urine may contain anywhere from 20 mg glucose DL urine. Ibig sabihin, kapag mataas na masyado dyan sa yung urine, yung glucose content ng urine mo, mas mataas na ng 20 mg dyan, ibig sabihin, diabetic ka na. And then, remember na ang low blood sugar ay tinatawag din na hypoglycemia. So, para meron din kayong mga alam sa mga medical term. No? So, ang low blood sugar, kapag daw yung dugo mo nag-drop na ng below 70, kapag below 70 mg per DL, yan, mababa na yung blood sugar mo. At ano ba yung mga nararamdaman natin kapag mababa na yung blood sugar natin? Hindi ba parang gutom tayo? Gutom, nanginginig, nahihilo, nalilito. Minsan yung iba nalilito, and sometimes yung iba nahihimatay, 'di ba? Kapag may hypoglycemia tayo. And kapag namamataas yung blood sugar natin, ang tawag naman sa kanya ay hyperglycemia. Yan. Yung mga may hyperglycemia naman, kapag mas mataas na siya ng 180 mg per DL. No, mataas na yung blood sugar mo nun. So, kapag masyado na mataas, ibig sabihin, kulang ka na sa insulin. No, ano yung mga nararamdaman natin kapag mataas yung blood sugar natin? Nauuhaw, madalas umiihi, tapos mabilis mapagod, nagiging blurry yung paningin, and then yung iba nagsusuka or nahihilo nun. So yun, so ano lang siya, additional information about blood sugar. Later on din naman sa mga nursing subjects, mapag-aaralan nyo rin naman yan. Next is the galactose. No? The galactose or D-galactose does not occur in nature in the uncombined state. It is released when lactose daw, yung lactose, yung disaccharide na matatagpuan natin sa milk, is hydrolyzed. No. Kapag hydrolyzed siya. So, the galactose needed by the human body for the synthesis of lactose and is obtained by the metabolic conversion of D-glucose to D-galactose. No, and then galactose is also important constituent in the glycolipids that occur in the brain. No, and the myelin sheath of the nerve cells. No, para may idea kayo kung ano ang myelin sheath. Ang myelin sheath is fatty siya na insulating layer na nagra-wrap around dun sa axon sa mga neurons. No, para magkaroon tayo ng mas active na nerve cells. Kaya nga ang galactose ay tinatawag din na brain sugar. No. So again, ang galactose, it is released when kapag yung lactose, yan, ay nag-hydrolyze. Kapag sinabi kasi nating hydrolyze, nagkakaroon tayo ng breakdown of water molecules. No. So, yung enzyme kasi natin na tinatawag natin na UDP glucose, ayan, for epimerase, yan, kino-convert daw yung UDP glucose to UDP galactose. Ito yon, no? Yung glucose, kino-convert siya into galactose, no? And yung reaction na yan, yung using this enzyme, yung reaction na yan is part siya ng Leloir pathway. Leloir. Yan. Na nagme-metabolize ng galactose to glucose. Yan. So next is the fructose. No. Si fructose naman is the most abundant of the ketohexose. Kung si glucose yung pinaka-abundant sa hex ay sa aldose, sa mga ketohexoses naman si fructose yung pinaka-abundant. So it occurs along with glucose and sucrose, no. Sucrose is a disaccharide. Later on madidiscuss natin si sucrose, no. Ang fructose daw, it occurs along with glucose and sucrose in honey, which is 40% ng fructose. And then syempre sa mga fruits. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na fructose. And remember, the structure of fructose, medyo kamukha siya ng structure ni glucose. So, i-observe niyo yan. Medyo magkamukha si glucose at si fructose in terms of position ng mga OH. But they differ sa functional group. Kasi ketone kasi si fructose and then si glucose naman ay aldehyde. No. So, fructose from the Latin fructus or fruit. No. Tinatawag din siya na levulose or fruit sugar. So this is the cyclic structure of sugars. Don't worry kasi hindi naman na kayo mag-aaral ng mga ganitong klaseng mechanism. Ipapakita ko lang kung paano nangyayari yung Fisher projection. Ayan, yung Fisher projection structure natin ay nagiging cyclic. Katulad nung nasa letter C. Paano yung nangyayari? So, magmarka tayo ng mga carbon. So, si carbon 1, dito tayo kay Fisher projection sa A. Carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, 5, and 6. So, as we can observe that the OH from the carbon 5, yan, si OH from the carbon 5 ay nagkakaroon ng reaction with the carbon 1. Kung mapapansin nyo yan, no? Yung unpaired electrons ni OH, magre-react siya with that carbon, and then may bibitaw na hydrogen dito, no? And then magfo-form na siya ng cyclic. Kaya ito yung na-form. Yun lang. No, so ganun lang. Nagkakaroon lang tayo ng cyclicization. So eto na tayo sa mga test for carbohydrates. Paano natin natetest kung present yung isang carbohydrates? So first is the Tollens test, no? Tollens test is also known as the silver mirror test. Actually sa lab to ginagawa yung mga test na yan, no, para malaman nyo kung ano yung mga different test natin to determine the presence of sugar. So first is the Tollens test. So it is a qualitative lab test used to distinguish between an aldehyde and a ketone. So the test used is to differentiate between reducing sugar and non-reducing sugar. When we say reducing sugar, ito yung mga sugar na nagdo-donate ng electron and acts as a reducing agent. So it is a property siya ng mga sugar, no? Yung donate ng electron, especially the reducing sugars, no? So ano ba yung mga example natin ng mga reducing sugar? So ililista ko dito kung ano yung mga example natin ng reducing sugar. Yung glucose, yan, mga reducing yan. Fructose, galactose, lactose, and then maltose. Yan, remember that, na yan yung mga example natin ng reducing sugar. No, yung tolerance test yung ginagamit natin. Hindi ko na i-discuss to, no. Basta yan lang yung reaction na nangyayari sa kanila. Next is the Benedict's test. No, the Benedict's reagent is a chemical reagent and complex mixture of sodium carbonate and sodium citrate and copper sulfate pentahydrate. So the primary application daw ng Benedict's test is to detect the presence of simple carbohydrates, no, para ma-detect natin yung presence. Actually, kapag sa mga ito yung pinaka-common na lab experiment in carbohydrates, the Benedict's test, kasi pwede natin tong gamitin para malaman nyo kung kayo ba ay may diabetes. Kasi ang Benedict's test, inexpensive method siya na detect yung presence ng reducing sugar. Ano ba yung reducing sugar? For example, yung glucose, di ba? So we can use Benedict's test to determine the presence of glucose or the reducing sugar sa urine, para malaman natin kung diabetic ba kayo or hindi, no? So indicator kasi siya for diabetes. Ayun, by identifying the glycosuria or yung sugar in urine. Glycosuria yung tawag sa sugar sa urine, no? Yan. So tapos na tayo sa mga monosaccharides. Now let's talk about the disaccharides, no? So ano ba yung mga disaccharides? So disaccharides are also called double sugar. Ibig sabihin meron lang tayong dalawang monosaccharide. Kapag yung dalawang monosaccharide ay nagsama, ang tawag sa kanila ay disaccharide. So the disaccharides differ from one another in their most monosaccharide constituent, no, specific type of glycosidic linkage. So we have different types of glycosidic linkage na nagli-link between two monosaccharide to create the disaccharide. So these three are the most common example of disaccharides. Yung sucrose, ang sucrose ay ay pinagsamang glucose at fructose. Ang lactose ay galactose at glucose. At ang maltose ay glucose at glucose. Parehas na glucose, no? And kung mapapansin nyo, itong part na to, iba yung kanilang linkage. No, magkakaiba sila ng linkage. Iyan yung tinatawag natin na glycosidic linkage. At we have different types of glycosidic linkage. So let's talk about first the maltose. Maltose is a sugar made out of two glucose molecules bound together. It is formed most often by partial hydrolysis of starch and glycogen. And then it's created in seeds and other parts of plants as they break down their stored energy in order to sprout. No. So this is the maltose. Tandaan nyo lang na ang maltose ay glucose at glucose. No. At maltose is a reducing sugar. And then the glucose in maltose are joined head-to-tail fusion through an alpha linkage from the first carbon atom of one glucose molecule to the fourth carbon of the second glucose molecule. Ito, yung unang carbon at yung fourth carbon. Yung linkage between those ay yung tinatawag natin na alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Remember na ang maltose, ito yung kanyang linkage. Remember that. Tandaan nyo yung mga ganyan. No? And then next is lactose. So lactose ay yung tinatawag natin na milk sugar. No? And then lactose, it occurs in the milk of humans, syempre sa cow, sa other mammals, and in fact, the natural synthesis of lactose occurs only in mammary tissue. Whereas most other carbohydrates are plant products, and human milks contain 7.5 lactose and 4.5 naman sa cow's milk. No, trivia lang. Another add to your another addition to your knowledge is yung mga adult natin, many adult and some children, specifically or especially the Asian ones, tayong mga Asian, we suffer from deficiency of lactase. No? Yan. Lactase, ito yung lactase is an enzyme na nagbe-breakdown or kumbaga sa tiyan natin, yan yung tumutunaw ng lactose. No? So, yung mga tao daw na nagsasuffer sa lactase deficiency or may deficiency sa lactase is, ang tawag sa kanila ay lactose intolerant. No, ibig sabihin wala na kasi silang lactase sa katawan. Kaya nga yung ibang tao, 'di ba may nabibiling mga gamot na for lactase, tapos umiinom sila noon bago sila mag-drink ng milk. Specifically yung mga full cream na milk kasi nga is kapag hindi sila umiinom noon, more likely magtatai sila, no? Kasi hindi kayang i-digest nung katawan nila yung milk because lactase is not present. Yon. So, yon. And then, meron din tayong tinatawag na genetic disease. Yung tinatawag natin na mali ako na spelling. Sorry. Galactosemia. Yan. Ang galactosemia naman, genetic disease siya na absent talaga yung enzyme needed na to convert yung galactose into glucose. Kaya nga meron tayong mga bacteria, yung mga lactobacillus and then yung mga bifidobacterium, sila yung nagme-metabolize ng lactose, no? Forming yung tinatawag natin na lactic acid. Ayan. No? Isa yan sa mga byproducts, no? And then yung ang tawag kasi sa reaction na yan ay yung souring. No, yung souring or yung pag-asim. Yan. Dagdag kaalaman lang. So, lactose is a reducing sugar din. No, composed of one molecule, D-galactose and D-glucose. Pinagsamang galactose at glucose. Tandaan nyo ha kung ano yung mga pinagsasama kapag dyan sa disaccharides. No? And then, yung linkage nila ay tinatawag natin na beta-1 for glycosidic bond. Ito siya. Yung beta-1 for glycosidic bond. Remember that. And then the sucrose, no? Sucrose probably the largest selling pure organic in the world, no? Tinatawag din kasi siyang beet sugar or yung cane sugar or table sugar, yung mga asukal na meron tayo ngayon or simply sugar lang. Yan, no? So si sucrose is pinagsama siyang glucose at fructose, no? At hindi basta-basta, no? Kasi alpha D-glucose yan at beta D-fructose yan. At ang sucrose molecule, it is unique among the common disaccharides kasi yung linkage na meron siya ay alpha-1, beta-2 glycosidic linkage. No? Again, alpha-1, beta-2 glycosidic linkage. Yun yung meron siya. No, ito siya, oh. Yan. Tandaan nyo yung mga linkage ha. And then, okay na tayo sa disaccharides. Next is the polysaccharides, no? So, for polysaccharides are the most abundant carbohydrates in nature and serve a variety of functions. Marami silang functions such as energy storage and components sa mga plant cell walls. So, polysaccharides are very large polymer composed of tens to thousands of monosaccharides. No, joined together by glycosidic linkages. Different types of glycosidic linkages. And then the three most abundant polysaccharides are starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Magkaiba yan ha. So these three are referred to as homopolymers because each yields only one type of monosaccharide, katulad ng glucose after a complete hydrolysis. So meron din tayong mga tinatawag na heteropolymers. From the word hetero, ibig sabihin, meron silang ka-join na iba bukod sa sugar. No? So, meron tayong mga sugar acids, amino sugars, may mga protein yan, ibig sabihin, and then non-carbohydrate substances. No? Iba-iba. In addition to monosaccharides. So, the polysaccharides are non-reducing. Tandaan nyo, ang mga polysaccharide, sila ay non-reducing carbohydrates. Kaya hindi sila matatamis. Diba? Yung mga fiber ba ay matamis? Hindi naman, di ba? So, yon. So, let's talk about first about the starch. So, starch is the most important source of carbohydrates in the human diet. No, sa human diet natin, and accounts for more than 50% of our carbohydrate intake. It occurs in plants. Remember that starch are from plants. No. 'Di ba nga, kapag kunyari nagbababad tayo ng patatas, nire-remove natin yung starch, yung mga ganon. 'Di ba? So, it occurs in plants in the form of granules, and these are particularly abundant in seeds and especially sa mga cereal grains and tubers where they serve as a storage form of carbohydrates. So starch is a mixture of two polymers, amylose and amylopectin. No, 10 to 30% is amylose and 70 to 90% is amylopectin. When we say amylopectin, ano sila? Mga water-insoluble polysaccharides sila and highly branched polymer of glucose, making the major component of the starch. Kaya nga kasi 70 to 90% siya, di ba? And then the amylose naman, the amylose is, it is a long unbranched chain naman. Wala siyang branch. No. Unbranched chain, and minor component lang siya ng starch. So, remember, ang amylose, linear polymer siya again, and then, ang linkage niya ay alpha-1 for glycosidic linkage, and for amylopectin, the linkage is alpha-1,6 glycosidic bonds or linkage. So this is the starch, no? So yan yung starch natin. Kapag dikit-dikit na yung mga sugar natin, this is a representation of branching in amylopectin and glycogen, no? So both amylopectin and glycogen contain branch point that are linked through alpha-1,6 linkage. Ito pala. Ito yung alpha-1,6 linkage. And then, ito namang mga ano na to, alpha-1 for yung kanilang pag-join. No? So, next is the dextrin. So, starch pa rin tayo. No? So, dextrins are glucose polysaccharide of intermediate size. Ibig sabihin, maliit lang yung size. So, the shine and stiffness imparted to clothing by starch are due to the presence of dextrin formed when clothing is ironed. Now, dextrin are more easily digested than starch and are therefore used extensively in the commercial preparation of infant foods. And then, the complete of starch yields in successive stages to glucose. So, yung starch, kapag naputol siya, magiging dextrin. And then pag naputol ulit, maltose, and then kapag naputol ulit, glucose na. Next is the glycogen. So glycogen is the energy reserve carbohydrates of animals. No, kung sa plants ay meron tayong starch, sa animals meron tayong glycogen. So practically all mammalian cells contain of stored carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. No, kaya nga sa metabolism meron tayong tinatawag na glycogenolysis at glycogenesis. So, later on, kapag nasa metab na tayo, matatakal na natin yan, no? So, ang glycogen daw, abundant daw yan sa liver. Sa liver natin. So, 4% to 8% by weight of tissue. And then, in skeletal cells din, 0.5 to 1%. So, like starch in the plant, glycogen found as granules in the liver. Kaya nga kung mapapansin nyo, di ba, kapag kumakain kayo ng lutong atay, lalo na sa mga menudo, 'di ba ang texture ng atay ay medyo magaspang, para siyang powdery or magranule siya. Ganon, no? 'Yon. So, again, ang glycogen can be found in liver as granules and in muscle cells. So, kapag daw nagkakaroon tayo ng fasting na tinatawag, no? Animals draw on this glycogen reserve during the first day without food to obtain the glucose needed to maintain metabolic balance. No, doon na pumapasok yung tinatawag natin na glycogenolysis at glycogenesis. No. So specifically the glycogenolysis. 'Yon. If ever na medyo mali tayo doon, pero paki-search na lang din. Pero yun din 'yon, no, glycogenolysis, no. So Kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng fasting, ganun yung nangyayari. And then, glycogen is structurally quite similar to amylopectin. Although, glycogen is more highly branched. No, mas branch siya compared kay amylopectin. And then, glycogen can be broken down into its D-glucose subunits by acid hydrolysis or by the same enzymes that catalyzes the breakdown of starch. No. Yan. So, ang glycogen monomer ay tinatawag na alpha-D-glucose. Next is the cellulose. Yan. Cellulose is a fibrous carbohydrate found in all plants in the structural component of cell walls. So, ito naman, sa mga cell walls naman to matatagpuan. And cellulose is the most abundant of all carbohydrates, accounting over 50% of the carbon found in the vegetable kingdom. No, cellulose yon. And then cellulose is a linear polysaccharide joined by, so glucose siya, joined by beta-1 for glycosidic linkage. And then cellulose yields D-glucose after complete acid hydrolysis. No, pero ang mga humans daw, we are unable to metabolize cellulose as a source of glucose. Kaya nga, for example, kapag kumakain tayo ng ang mga dahon-dahon, for example, pag nagsamgipsal tayo or kumakain tayo ng mga kimchi or ng lettuce, ang nangyayari, di ba, kapag inire-release natin sila, if you observe, medyo dugit siya, pero kung i-observe nyo, buo-buo pa rin yung iba, yung dahon. Why? Because yung digestive juices natin, yung sikmura kasi natin, it lacks with an enzyme called cellulase. No, wala tayong cellulase. Yung nag-aano ng cellulose. Kasi wala tayong enzyme na kayang mag-hydrolyze ng beta-glycosidic linkages. No, wala tayong enzyme na kayang mag-hydrolyze ng linkage na to. No, na matatagpuan sa mga cellulose. So, we cannot eat grass. No. Kaya yung mga yung mga baka-baka, yung mga kambing-kambing, meron kasi silang ganong klaseng enzyme. No, kaya na-digest nila yung mga ganon. No. Kaya nga yung mga tao is it's hard to digest cellulose. No. However, meron tayong mga microorganism din na kayang mag-digest ng cellulose. Kasi meron silang tinatawag natin na cellulase. Nabanggit ko na kanina. Wala tayong cellulase, pero yung mga microorganism meron. No. And then yung mga baka-baka. Pero yung iba din naman kasi mga baka tsaka yung mga kambing is may times na meron din silang lack of cellulase. Kasi nga, minsan, buo rin nilang inilalabas. Pero at least, they can still digest that. They can break or they can hydrolyze the beta-1 for glycosidic linkage na meron sa cellulose. No. So that's all. Hanggang doon lang naman yung ating discussion in carbohydrates, and thank you. And then for the assignment, here is the assignment, and then later on, if ever you have questions, feel free to comment or ask me. So yun lang. Thank you.